All right. We're officially live, the CXT show today with another surprise guest who I don't even know this guest. So it's gonna be a fun adventure. Before we reveal our surprise guest today, I thought it might be fun for each of you just to introduce yourself. So our guests might get to hear a little bit about you, and then we'll reveal the guest and we'll talk about stuff. Good morning, everyone. Rick, why don't we start with you, just going from the top on my screen?
Well, very good. Nothing like being on the spot, but that's fantastic. Hey, everybody, and hey, mystery guest. I am Rick Denton, and I believe that the best meals are served outside and require a passport. Have been doing this CX consulting thing for a little over 6 years with the primary goal of delivering actual, tangible, real, honest to God value and getting away from the fluffernutter of CX, but into something that actually matters for the business. Looking forward to meeting you, guest. And happy to see all the rest of you in the CX Cypher world as well.
Seriously. Rob, what about you? Who are you? What are you doing here?
Hey, good morning. I'm digging myself out of snow. We got 8 inches here in Kansas. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone. My name is Rob Dwyer. I represent Happy To. We are a software solution for contact centers. And I just love talking to all these wonderful people and learning exciting things.
Awesome. Claire. Where are you in the world today, Claire?
So I am, and actually I can say that right now, and I couldn't say that about an hour ago, but in sunny Jersey, on a little island, in a Channel Island between France and England, so not New Jersey, US, but UK Jersey, which the sun is shining, fabulous. That doesn't happen very often, so I love it. So I am the Bishui creator. I turn people and places into prosperity. Whoa, this is so cool. That's what I do. I love CX and EX. And really, this is just such a fab time to bring a whole lot of things about CX, yeah, with all of you guys.
I used to think I was the high energy one of the group, but Claire, you're like maximum 234. You're going to just be like the sun glowing in the solar system. Paul, good morning, sir. Tell us what part of the world you are and say hello to Maddie.
Good morning, afternoon, whatever time zone we're in, because we're international. We're fully international in this room. Hello, Maddie. Nice to meet you. Yeah, I'm based in the northeast of England, so Claire, I can sympathise. It is actually reasonably sunny out there. There's no clouds in the sky. It's freezing, but I don't have snow, Rob. I don't have snow. How am I here? I have no idea why I'm here. I was talking to Rob one day and he said I should turn up, and here I am. No, seriously, I kind of similar background to Rob, I guess. I spent 3 years selling SaaS solutions into the CX and contact center space, and fell in love with the industry. I once served some time in a call center many, many years ago, and I've spent 15 years in retail. I love understanding how people think and what they do and why they do the things that they do. I'm just curious. And now I help businesses, consultants, coaches tell their stories through the form of video. So that's a brief version of me. I'll not go on too long because I've got things to do, right?
Awesome. And should we have a drum roll? I would need those sound effects. Drum roll for Miss Stacy Sherman.
Thank you. Yes, Stacy Sherman. Oh, my heart is full. Yeah, doing CX right. Everything about doing CX right is who I am, what I do. Started it while I was in corporate for the past 25 years. Though doing CX right was birthed in 2016, and I didn't even know that I would want it or need it when I did. And here I am, 2023. This is the year completely a reinvention of my professional world, doing this full time, speaking and podcasting. And as of the new year, I will have a LinkedIn course and a published book coming soon.
Very impressive. Greg, we have a special guest. Everybody's introducing themselves. Nobody knows who Maddie is or what the surprise is. So just give us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. Hi, nice to meet you. Greg from Zurich, Switzerland. I have a corporate job working in an hospital leading the digital transformation. And in my spare time, I am the CX goalkeeper, spreading the word of mouth around customer experience, transformation, and leadership. I think everybody is also sports fan and think about having business that have fans as customer. It would be great. Even if a team lose a match, then the fans are spreading positive word of mouth. Let's think about this example and what we could achieve in business.
Awesome. All right, everyone. And I'm Dennis Wakabayashi, recently back from Dubai, still kind of jet lagged, I think. It was weird. I have a little Rise sleep app, and for like the last 3 weeks, I've been at 23 hours sleep debt, so just bear with me. Our special guest today, the reason I invited her here is I came into contact with her while helping her potentially work with one of our clients as a content creator. All of us are content creators. We get together in this little group to this forum to discuss whatever it is we're thinking about as we progress our curiosities about influence and content creation. So I thought it would be amazing to have a surprise guest who's on the entirely other end of the spectrum, a young influencer content creator who is beginning to go on her journey. And because we're all on the same journey, but on completely different ends of the spectrum, I thought it would just be amazing to share each other's thoughts in today's show. So without further ado, Maddie, can you introduce yourself to the group?
Hi, am I frozen?
No? But
Okay.
you have a black background.
Oh, I do? Oh no. Okay, hold on. Let's try this again. Still frozen? Maybe?
Nope, just black background.
Yeah, we'll leave it. You can see me? We're good.
No, we can't see you.
Oh no.
Do it. Perfect.
We
So-
know
Oh, really
technology,
keeping the
Dennis.
mystery going there. I like that.
Very, very mysterious.
First thing that makes me feel good about that is it's just not old people who have problems with technology.
Well, it's interesting because as I was looking around and thinking, we are all on TikTok at some point or another. We've
Okay,
all
can we see me
started
now?
a channel, haven't we?
Yes.
Hi.
Hello, Maddie.
Hey,
Hi,
Maddie.
Maddie.
All right, so Maddie, we're all here. We were just saying when you popped off, it made us all feel better as old people that even the young people have some technical difficulty at times. And I think just to kick this off, tell us a little about yourself and how your journey into being a content creator influencer.
Absolutely. So I'm currently sitting in cold Idlewild, California, in a little cottage on the side of a mountain. Very cold, 6 a.m. here, but we're doing our best. A little bit more about like my content creator stuff is I started content creation about 5 years ago. I started modeling when I was about 12 years old. From there, kind of always was interested in the behind the scenes, the camera aspect. Picked up a camera not too many years after that. Started working around it, being like, okay, this is kind of cool. I can be the moody and I can be bright and I can change all these settings. And I was like, well, how is this like related to social media? And so I started doing a little more like personal research on myself and everything around me. And I was like, well, let me see how this relates. I started doing content for myself personally on like Instagram, TikTok a little bit when it was called Musically. I don't know if anyone remembers that. But back then started like posting more and I was like, I kind of like this. Didn't think much of it. And then COVID happened and the world shut down. And so for me, that was kind of my time to be like, okay, what do you actually want to do? Because before I always thought the only way to make money was to be a lawyer, a doctor, take the typical college route. And I am in college, but not for what I thought it'd be. I always thought I'd be a sports medicine major, and now I'm a marketing major. Complete flip flop. And so I fell in love with the business side of things and fell in love with the money you can make, but two, more of what I can create from social media, from being behind a camera, from being able to use my imagination and take that to a whole new level. Today I now do social media management. I do content creation for brands, brand photo shoot. That's why I'm up in Idlewild is the Airbnb I'm currently in is a partnership I have. And then I also brought brands here to shoot. So kind of doubling up on all the brand content while we're here. And yeah, that's a little bit more about me. I graduate this next year, so kind of excited for that. But full-time content creator slash model slash social media manager slash everything.
What a great introduction. What a great surprise guest. I just have to imagine you all have questions. Who wants to go first? Stacy, I see you nodding. Jump in there.
So, first of all, I love your energy. I feel it through the airways here, and I'm sure Claire will echo that, being a very conscious energy source. So love that. Two, I have young adult kids that are your age. And so I see it every day, their creativity and how they also poke fun at me at what I do, not being Gen Z. Um, I'd say my question is, what advice do you have for podcasters to actually be able to take their show and be able to drive that engagement? Because mine are very boring. I just literally take the show and I grab a clips of us talking, and they're good content. What would you advise for podcasters?
Especially if you're sharing it on social media, people like to be told what to do. That is the biggest thing. They need to be told what to do or they won't know what to do. So a lot of like in my terms it's called call to action. You guys might have the same thing in
Mhm.
CX, but call to action basically means bring them a question, be like, hey, what did you think about our new podcast, or ask them a question about something regarding your podcast, and kind of bring it in that way on social media. Another thing I love using on stories on, like, for example, Instagram, they have little emojis you can put in there and they can be interactive, so you can put a podcast mic and be like, tap the mic if you listened, and that builds your engagement around it. And also linking your podcast straight, because people don't want to go on Spotify, on Apple Music, on wherever your podcast may be. Maybe it's on here. Um, they don't want to go looking for it. They want an easy tap, convenient to myself. Hey, I'm going to tap this button. I can go straight to it. Oh, that looks interesting. Or even if you're just taking a certain clip, make sure you're being specific with that clip. Make sure you're going in and being like, what is the most interesting part about this podcast? Because I'm going to take that part. And even though the rest may be boring, at least I caught their eye, I caught their attention with this little 5-second clip, and then that will want them wanting more and bringing them to you.
The links that you mentioned, some channels don't really let you do that. I guess you're putting it in the comments. Is that what you mean?
You can do comments if it doesn't let you like attach a link on stories on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. You can I personally have a lot of my links in my bio. So I'll in
Mm.
my biography little section above, I kind of have I call it I use Linktree because I can link everything. I can link all the partnerships, all the brand discounts I have, my other accounts. And so I'd put in there so you can either be like linked in bio or follow this link towards the podcast, or kind of give instructions if you can't actually link it. Be like, once you go to this site, type in this name, it'll pop straight up.
I like that. Thank you.
Of course.
Maddie, I'm interested in understanding kind of your views on the use of different social media platforms for different type of content. And I'm not talking about like style of content, but I think most of us here that have podcasts are more in the business vein. And I know that I've had a reluctance to get on TikTok or that sort of, because I haven't found it to be as effective for the business content. That may be a naive view on my part, or perhaps even short-sighted. So do you have a view on kind of, if you're thinking from a business rather than just a pure entertainment or other type of style, views on the different platforms out there and where business content should find its most success?
Yeah, of course. So when it comes to social media as a whole, consumers want two main things, in my opinion. They want to be entertained or they want to be informed. And those are the two that really drive social media. So for you, for the business side, it's more of an informational thing, right? Like your podcast is probably talking about business, talking about CX, talking about what you know and your learnings and your teachings. For that, in my personal opinion, it depends how you use social media in certain platforms. I'll say it that way. Because TikTok, people love vlog style TikToks. So if you're sitting here like I am talking to you guys, it's kind of talking to a camera and posting it on social media, being like, hey, this is what I'm going to do today. Hey, let's come to a business meeting with me. Come sit with me through this. Hey, let's talk. Let's chit chat. How to navigate the CX world. Like caption calling kind of the same thing as Stacy is the call to actions is what's really going to drive no matter your business in any sense. When it comes to Instagram's algorithm, we love her. We are always contemplating. We're always learning new things. New things are always coming out. They obviously came out with reels. Reels are still being pushed. However, now certain times their carousel posts are being pushed. So a lot of people are doing carousel posts with a mix of reels of where the carousel post is a hey, get to meet me or get to meet CX, right? And the next slide is number 1, next slide's number 2, and it's just that information being given. I think it really just determines how you draw people in. TikTok and Instagram are my 2 main things. I don't know that much about Twitter. Or X now. But it is kind
No.
of our
It'll always be Twitter. Sorry, I'm gonna
literally.
get off my lawn. It'll be
I
Twitter.
think with that platform, it's more of a you just share your thoughts, and there is business side behind it. But to me, it just seems like everyone has their opinion and will share it, and that's kind of Twitter or X or whatever you want
Yeah,
to call it. When it comes to
Maddie, that's.
Facebook and
Oh, sorry.
Instagram
Keep going.
are.
Keep going. I
Oh,
had a
sorry
question
about
for you,
that.
but keep going.
I was gonna say Instagram and Facebook are both owned by Meta, so they're kind of one and the same. Of where Instagram is, you see your older generation on. You see that's where you connect with your grandma and grandpa, your aunts and uncles. You want your family to follow you, so you are more restrictive of posts sometimes. But Facebook Reels are actually so useful, especially if you can take clippets from just saying information or a podcast or something and post it into their Reels. The growth on Facebook, in my opinion, is so much easier. Same with TikTok. I feel like Instagram, you're kind of fighting for those views, you're fighting for the engagement, for the billion the people that use freaking all these platforms. Like you're fighting for their attention. So at the end of the day, what's gonna grab their attention? What about your job do you love? And people love you being honest. They love transparency. They love being informed. They love being entertained, and they love seeing you passionate. So I could sit here all day and talk about content. I could sit here all day and talk about modeling, but it's because I'm passionate about those things. Um, that you kind of have to love what you do to post about what you do. And in my sense, like that's the best way to describe it.
One question to what you just said. So, and hi, Nate. um, so one question, which is, if I was going to, like, I'm releasing a podcast, all right, and let's say I talk to the camera about what it's about and something that's really powerful. My question is it sitting here like this and talking through the camera with the way you see it? Or is the expectation that I'm literally walking the streets, with the background changing? Is there an opinion on that?
I think I love that you bring this up because it's such a Gen Z thing to do that you have to be walking and talking and moving. And there, I will say this there are people of every age range on these platforms. That's not your target audience. Your podcast is probably towards the early 30s to later 50s. Like you're probably pushing in that category of when their style is, hey, let's meet at a coffee shop for a meeting. Let's meet in your office. Like that is what they're used to. So if you're going like this and being like, hey guys, nice to meet you. Let me talk about CX, they're not going to be engaged. Whereas my generation's like, oh, I like that transition. What did you just do? But for you personally, it'd be like I would like what you're doing now, perfectly fine. My thing is one being like have like speak to them, right? Like you're speaking directly to them. Don't be like a book that you're like okay, guys, CX, I mean, your energy isn't like this, but just for an example, but okay, CX is all about this, and this is what I learned at the convention. It's, hi, guys, like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what I learned this weekend at this convention I went to. Bring them into that FaceTime feel because it sounds, one, like they're your best friend, and two, it's more personal. Like, you're not just sitting here being like, okay, let's do a podcast. Hi, guys. Okay, bringing you along. Let's do this big mic. I have a mic here. Don't mind it. We're also recording my podcast at the same time, but I want you guys to be in on it first.
I think you just redefined my entire 2024 strategy. And with that, I want to introduce Nate Brown, who is also part of this little collective of content creators. Nate, our special guest today, is Maddie. She's a content creator on the other end of the age spectrum from us. I think we're all like just soaking up all of this knowledge. And I just wanted, Nate, do you want to introduce yourself to Maddie?
Yeah, Nate Brown. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I enjoy doing many different types of videos and different things. I'm a pickleballer and a disc golfer. Got a mini golden doodle and a couple kiddos out here and some chickens and different things. But lover of customer experience. So that's my content niche, and it's been more and more morphing towards community development and fostering loyalty inside of the organizations we serve and extending that loyalty outwards to customers. So excited to learn from you. Thank you for coming with us, Maddie.
Nice to meet you.
So, Maddie, I have a question. So it's been my style is I am sort of random. I'm all over the place. I don't have a real structure or format, and I pretty much just go after whatever content in any direction, shaky cam, vlog style, studio style. Just, if my camera's set up, I'll shoot in the studio. Otherwise, if it's not, some days I just get bored and I just throw the camera on. Do you think it's better for your audience to have a structured, a consistent format, or do you think do you think I need to fix that?
Okay, I'll be very honest with this one. Yes and no. So there's two options you have here. People like consistency. So if I'm filming in the same spot every day, people are going to assume I'm going to be in the same spot every day. If I'm doing an outfit video and I'm in the same corner of my room every single day being like, here's my fit, here's my fit. It's consistency. People love consistency. So you can either change your whole world to be around one style, or what many influencers do, or content creators, or kind of just people in the business world, they pick a style for each platform. So maybe YouTube is going to be your more vlog like or more sit down, like literally sit down. I'm trying to think of like how to say it.
I feel you. I'll jump in. I feel you because my Instagram is all just sort of beauty pics of cities or places, things
Yes.
I think cool, and then I do the vlog stuff. I'm doing more of that on the YouTube's, but I've been trying to talk at the camera on TikTok, and I got to tell you, I can run Final Cut Pro, but I cannot figure out how to edit very well on TikTok. And I tried to get my daughter to show me, and she's like, "You press this, stop, press, stop, press, stop, press, you're done." And it's just I can't do it. But I have been trying to talk more, so I think I'm more on the lines of what you're saying, which I'm just trying to mix it up. So each channel, you sort of get a different side of my personality, maybe.
Right. So for example, for you on like YouTube, it might be more of a vlog, more of a hey, come with me to Dubai, come with me to come home with me to Texas. Like kind of like that personable vlog feeling of where your podcast can be is more of that sit down, hey, let's talk business. Let's have a real meeting. Like let me show you what I do, right? Cuz people are still interested in like what do you even do for a career? Like what is CX? Like and you can still like incorporate these things like little knickknacks about these. Whereas Instagram, you kind of already said it. It is more of your professional photos. It is more of your pics from your trip, and people kind of expect that who follow you already. As like, but you can always switch that up if you want, or leave it the same and just have it on a different platform. TikTok, definitely a video app. Definitely a freestyle. If you really want to grow on TikTok, people will tell you post 3 times a day. For most people, that is unrealistic. But being consistent over all platforms, saying, okay, this week consistently, I'm gonna post 3 different times. It's gonna be either Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? Like you could just say pick 3 days. those are the days every single week I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to show up for my social media team. I'm going to show up for the people who follow me because it's consistent, because they're expecting it. And maybe it is another option some people do is, okay, Mondays I'm going to do motivational Monday. Wednesdays are going to be wacky Wednesday. Fridays are going to be fun Friday. Like you can literally kind of turn your content to that, so then people are like, okay, I know every Monday he's going to give me motivation. Every Monday I'm going to come in, I'm going to look at this quote, I'm going to look at this whatever he's saying. On Wednesday, he's going to be funny. He's going to dress up in a certain outfit. He's going to be entertaining. And then on Friday, it's similar, but it's still business. Like, and you can, whatever you want. It doesn't have to rhyme with the day. I'm just comes to
Yeah,
my mind when I think about it.
I-
But like people do like check in Saturday or check in Mondays, like how are you guys doing, and have that conversation on these social platforms of being like, talk to me, tell me how your life's going. I want to know, and I'm personable to you. I'm not just a cranky old businessman sitting in my office flying all these cool places because, and I don't even like it, because that's not you.
right. Awesome. All right, I heard someone else.
Yeah. By the way, oh, Greg's talking, but I can't hear him. Oh, I read lips, so it says go ahead. Um,
Go first.
okay. No, mine's very quick. I was gonna say, as you're coming up with your themes, Nate will need a day that's like subdued Nate. Like everybody else, like,
Yeah.
be loud,
Be a
like
weird
in
day.
your energy, and then Nate's gonna be like dressed down, subdued day.
He's been like Silent Saturday. Actually, we're just gonna go.
I was just thinking that, Stacy, about Nate. The first time you show up in like a full-on, just normal, like tuxedo or something, even just like something totally
Yeah.
normal to a show, every head is gonna turn.
Yeah, that'd be a weird day. I don't
There
like
we go.
that thought at all.
I
One
like
of these
you
days,
were gonna jump in.
Nate and I are going to swap outfits and just really mess with people.
That's a great idea. Let's do it.
Maddie, I
again
think
Instagrammable stuff.
the word that you used the most was consistency. How long should you try with the style or with the type of videos in one social platform? Let's say YouTube publishing shorts about the podcast. How long should you try until you get some results, and how do you measure results?
I always try things when I like go full-fledged. I use the 90-day rule. It takes you 90 days to form a new habit. So if you do something consistently for 90 days or a certain amount of days in that 90 days, you're going to form the habit of just doing it. Like if you've never been on social media, if you're not posting consistent now, I say do it for 90 days. It is a lot of patience, Nate. It is. So on a smaller scale, but that's when I go full-fledged and I'm like, okay, this is a new platform, 90 days, let's go. I always say try something out for a month. Like that's literally where I start. Do something for a month. See how your analytics are. See your insights. See how your engagement is. Another thing, if you don't know what your audience wants, I love polls. Because when you use a poll, say on an Instagram story, on a Facebook, I believe you can do it on X or Twitter. TikTok, you can ask people and have them comment, like, what kind of content do you want to see from me? Do you want to see more just still photos with information in the caption? Do you want me to talk to you like a FaceTime? Like, do you want to be personal? Do you want me to give you the information and talk to you straight up? Do you want me to do a podcast type and I'm just giving you clippets and then you have to go listen to the podcast? Like, what do you want? Do you want to just see my family life? Like, because some people on, like, if for example, Facebook, people really go on Facebook, in my opinion, and I think a lot of my generation thinks this now. Facebook, I don't want to say it's gonna be like MySpace and die off, but it might. That's my genuine opinion. Is it is gonna be one of those platforms that is slowly, as the older generations do get older and not really on their phones as much, it's gonna start wearing off unless they start something new or something else happens. And with that, Facebook is kind of that thing you go, oh, what is my aunt up to? Like, what is my Gigi up to? Like, what are y'all up to? Like, these friends from high school, I have no clue who you are anymore. Like, how's your life? How's your kids? Like, and I feel like that's where Facebook, in my opinion, is taking it as kind of your memory lane, right? Who do I want to stay connected with? Who do you want to remember? And Instagram's kind of like, okay, how can I be creative? How can I be new? How can I be innovative? And how can I teach? How can I teach you what I am, who I am? I'll use me as an example. My personal Instagram, like my Facebook, totally a reconnect. Like, hey guys, this is what I'm up to. This is what's new in my life. I post every so often, maybe once a month if I'm lucky. Instagram, I'm trying to post consistently at least 3 days a week. And even me as content creator who's done this for years still doesn't get that. So don't worry if you're not meeting that. It's kind of like you think about working out, like, okay, you didn't go to the gym this day. It's okay. Go again tomorrow. Right? Like, don't beat yourself up. And I think that's the biggest thing is like Instagram for me personally, it is my personal page. So I do show my modeling. I show things I'm working on, but I also show like my boyfriend, my family, my mom, my dad, my brothers. I show trips I go on. I'm known as what they call a travel and lifestyle influencer. So I'll go to these Airbnbs and I'm going to create content for them. I'm going to show you the outfits I like. I'm going to show you and like just kind of be personal in that sense of, hey, if you want to link it, great. Here's some also brand collabs I'm doing. And I have those on my Instagram as well. The biggest thing out of all platforms, I will say this is kind of, sorry, a little off topic, Greg. I will say, don't let your mind overthink what you're posting. Have a strategy and run with it. Because if you overthink, oh, my makeup doesn't look good. Oh, I have this zit right here. Oh, I don't like my teeth. Oh, my hair isn't done. Like my hair is in a slick back bun right now. It's one of those things you can't think about because you're gonna overthink and be like, I'm not gonna post. It's kind of, I think you, especially right now with the Christmas, think about the Grinch. 12 o'clock, I got this. 4 o'clock, I got this. I'm booked. Can't do it. Not gonna do it. Like,
It's so true what you're saying. And I want to say, much of what you're describing, I think for our generations, when we look at your generation, we do like the spectrum of content because it kind of cues us into the cultural changes that are happening. We listen to the translations of the slang or how you're interacting in the workplace, how you view being an entrepreneur, the political system, all of these things. I think we learn a lot. And one of the things I like to do in this session is, Maddie, I asked you to be here for a couple of reasons. One, I thought you would be a fresh voice for us to learn from. So thank you so much. I'm certain we've learned a lot. But I'd also like to be here because as leaders, we've all climbed up through the ranks of business. And I will tell you, I think that going from a corporate job out into being a content creator it's a little bit more difficult than coming out of the womb and turning into a content creator because we have all these battle scars and we have all these systems and we have kids and we have all these other responsibilities. And honestly, if I'm being totally thoughtful about it, we've been conditioned through the corporate systems not to say certain things. We struggle with authenticity because we've been punished for acting outside of the norm for so long that it's scary for us to say what we really want to say. So these are some of the things we grapple with. But having said that, we have figured out a few things. So I'm curious, what questions might you have of us as content creators?
ooh, I like this. I think the biggest one for everyone, and everyone can have maybe like a statement or so. What has been the biggest challenge transitioning for you? Has it been the attire? Has it been the speaking? Has it been the doing things you're not supposed to be doing? What is it that really is challenging and the hardest part of your job?
The hardest part of content
Ladies,
creation, in
Oh,
my opinion, is lighting.
you have great lighting, Rob.
It could be better.
Natural light, your best friend, I promise.
It's a constant battle,
I would
Rob. It's a
say
constant battle. Like,
I would say in a little bit more serious note, um, I would say, gosh, first of all, Dennis, you said it very well. I'm not used to living with blue sky, open reigns, no boundaries. I am not used to that. This is my first year ever out of corporate. since since college. That's a long time ago. So I think the answer for me is that because I have open reins, that unlearning what I did that, got hand slapped for being creative and being able to be outside the box. And then when I do get outside the box, I do have like I said, young 20-year-olds in their 20s, and they are my toughest critic. So when I do experiment, oh gosh, do I hear about it? The phone rings, the text happens. What are you doing, mom? So I think I think I went from corporate bosses to 20-year-old critics. They're
Lord.
encouraging, but so anyway, thick
They were
skin.
helpful yesterday on our call, Stacy.
I will
Yes.
say real quick, just hearing you talk about it, one thing I would tell you to add into stuff to make things more personal, if you are wanting to go a more personal route with socials and stuff, talk about your experience the last year. Literally go uncorporating myself, literally. And kind of you can talk about this. That can be a segment on a podcast, on a story, on something that other people relate to. Like, as Dennis just said, literally 7 people in this room related to you and in saying, hey, we've been through it too. That's how you gain followers. That's how you gain views. People who want to be like you. They want to know that they're not alone. It's like when a mom comes up, they're like, I want to know I'm not alone in this. I want to know this is normal for me to feel fat, for me to feel unloved, for me to blah, 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 blah. Like all these things, you want to connect with someone. So in that self, who cares what your kids say? Who cares what anyone says? I know that sounds a lot and you're going to care what they say anyways, because I do the same thing with my mom. And I'm like, are you really on Snapchat right now? Hi.
Yeah.
Are you really using a filter? Like, she's like, yeah, I need a filter. I'm like, why? Like,
Okay.
I'm that judger, but I love that she
Yeah.
does it.
Okay, hold on. I don't want to lose this thought. So I actually have like a jolt of a tear as you're talking about uncorporating myself. Um, so let's play what if. What if I do go through some of those stories of this year? It's not even a full year I'm out of corporate. How does my head goes to, well, that's not going to bring me business. That doesn't go match what I talk about in terms of doing CX right. So that's where my head gets a little stuck. Help me with, aren't you supposed to be talking about
Why do you
content
do
that you're monetizing? Yeah.
why do you do CX?
Well, that I could talk a
Because
lot
you
about
didn't want to
too.
be in the because you didn't want to be in the corporate world anymore, right?
Correct. Well, I miss the benefits, but
That's how
yeah.
those relate.
So,
But yes.
so I want to jump in on this conversation because this relates to the hardest part, I think, is the average influencer on the influencer spectrum makes about $182 a month if you get the whole average. There's superstars, but then there's lower end content creators. And I think when we talk about ourselves as content creators or people who are out here entrepreneurially and we have to monetize, we're paying for houses, we're paying for college tuitions. So we have to be on the grind so much more than I don't think entertainment is, if we are business to consumer, but because we have to be up on the latest trends from an economic business perspective, be advisory thought leaders. We have to be credible. We have to be authentic. And then we're up against a whole gazillion Maddies out there who are creating more entertaining content. The hardest thing I think for me is to actually create a living out of this that keeps my family afloat. And I think to your point, Stacy, where is that line between I want to be authentic and I really want to say what I want to say, but how important are my thoughts versus my expertise to my community? And I think where that get in there, Maddie, is for us, we're valued for our expertise in our community more than most, which is why we get the privilege of sort of trying this whole content creation thing?
I will say, just to a little bit like sum kind of all of that up, totally get where you're coming from because again, you have kids, you have a mortgage, you have car payments, you have these things that you're like, I can't just drop everything and try. um More of what I'm saying is I use that as an example when I was talking to Stacey is if she needs something more vulnerable, it might be the opposite. It might be why, like, it could be something why I left the corporate world and why benefits of CX and why I'm so happy I'm doing this because that still relates to your consumer, your audience of these people who need your expertise. You are seeing what they need at the end of the day. And that's why I love polls because I don't know everyone's target audience at the end of the day. I have to do my own research when I work with brands. Like, who are you trying to work with? Like, I was working with a casino, and their target audience is people in their 40s to 80s. Like, they're not looking for the silly TikTok dances. It really depends on your content. When it comes to monetization, I think this is the biggest thing in the content world that people don't fully understand. Most influencers, most of their money does not come from Instagram. It does not come from Twitter. It does not come from TikTok. It does not come from Facebook. These things come from their influence that they have on these platforms, but it's brands paying them to
Yeah.
promote. So most of their monetization does not come from the platform alone. It comes from brands that they use. So they use it as a way to, hey, for example, I'll use this one person as an example. She's married to an NFL player. She uses her whole platform mainly as a joke. She's very serious when she says it, but it's jokingly. She's like, "Oh yeah, my sugar daddy," but she makes more than him doing Airbnbs and all this stuff. And it's, "Hey, my sugar daddy over here. Oh yeah, I'm carrying his kid, but whatever." Like all these funny jokes, but brands pay her to be now funny in that setting, right? It might be a cell phone brand, it might be a service, it might be whatever. You kind of think about that, but in your own sense, right? Like, who are you selling your expertise to? Is it business owners, right? Okay, what are 3 benefits of hiring a CX expertise? Expert, like whatever you want
I'm
your name to be.
I want to jump in there because you're so right about so much of what you said. And I want to just say specifically, not to put the spotlight on you, Stacy, but what Maddie said is I think a lot of us, we love your thoughtful interviews of people. I think some of the content that gets the most engagement is when you ask people what they would tell their younger selves, because I think that's something that happens across all the age groups and demographics. But Stacy, so many of us are very hungry to hear your personal story. I think we all know and love you for the host and the voice that you are, but we want to know more about your personal journey because you're vulnerable to us. And I think that the more that people understand it, I think to Maddie's point, there's a lot of others like us who are like rooting for you and want to see you succeed, but also the vulnerability is so engaging.
I think also,
We
Dennis,
get it too.
there's another bit to this which is kind of stitches things together. Is what Maddie's talked about is there's lots of different social media platforms, all with their own kind of specialisms and things that it's acceptable to post about or not. And LinkedIn, yes, you can be a little bit more personal and vulnerable than what we have been in the past on it, but it's generally more business and educational and informative posts. And a lot of people feel uncomfortable posting on that. When you think about the world that we're in as being more and more, we're omni-channel in where we go. So if we're watching a Marvel film, we've talked about this before, Dennis, we're watching a Marvel film, then there's the Marvel series, then there's the cartoon series, then there's the comedies, then there's the straight up stuff, right? You wouldn't put the comedy, the cartoon into the film. It has its own place, but you'd allude to it in the film. And I think where we're going with Maddie here is, if I'm hearing this right, it's an interesting idea that I hadn't really gotten to properly myself, is that there's a space for telling your personal story, and maybe it's on Instagram, maybe it's on TikTok, maybe it's on Facebook, and now and again you have a crossover event. See what I did there? You have a crossover event on LinkedIn where you can talk about that as a one-off or a short series where here's an insight into Stacey's journey. But actually, if you want to see the journey, it's over on Instagram. And that's a different style of content altogether. And then you're not polluting your LinkedIn message, you're not polluting your business message, and you're still getting over the seriousness to the people that need you to be serious. But for those that want to get a bit more personal and again, it's also about, I think, and I'll be keen to hear your thoughts on this, Maddie. It's also about helping people resonate. Because if you want to change somebody's mind as to how they do things, to see you as an expert is the only way to get them to change their beliefs and opinions. And the way that they see you as an expert is by the amount of things that they resonate with you about. So you're going to attract the people that resonate with what you say, and you're going to push away some of the other people that don't resonate with what you say. And that's okay, because they were never your customers. The people who do, they'll get drawn in more and more and more, see you as an expert, and then start to take your advice, and they become customers. Is that a good sum up, Maddie?
Everything you just said gave me chills, like because it's so true. And your example of the Marvel, I was actually going to use an example. Like you think about, I don't know if anyone watches football, like American football, but when it comes to the Super Bowl, they always throw in a tearjerker. Like that's straight entertainment, but they always throw in a tearjerker: pet adoption, adopt a pet, adopt this poor kitty that's in this shelter. They always throw one of those in, and it's kind of like that crossover of it has nothing to do with entertainment. It's to pull your attention from the entertainment and be like, but look at this important thing as well. But then, okay, here's your entertainment again. And it is kind of like that catch and throw analogy of where it is that crossover, right? You don't have to be one person or another. You can kind of mix and match of who do I want to show up? And I think that's the important question is the most important question I like to ask people is what is your why? Like that's why I asked you, Stacey, what is your why? And build off of your why. Because the people who are hiring you already, they probably want to know more about you too and why you got into this. Because they're probably thankful, well, if you didn't quit your corporate job, if you didn't do this, I'd be screwed, is probably what they're saying. So
That
at
is
the
one problem. They're probably
so at the end
Dennis,
of the day, it's like again, kind of what Paul said. Yes, you can be a different person, like I was saying, on each different social media, or not a different person, but like show different sides of you. Me personally, like LinkedIn is my professional side. Like I have a professional photo. I really only repost or retweet stuff. Like I'm not really posting like I would on Instagram. I apply for jobs. Like it's kind of my business catch-all. Where it comes
each
to Instagram, I'm like, please know I'm on a trip right now. Please know this is what I'm doing and I'm having the best time of my life. Facebook, I'm like, okay, well here's some memories. Look how cute I was when I was 4. Like, oh,
I,
grandma, grandpa, love you so much. Thank you for the birthday wishes.
let me jump in it because we have just a few minutes left. I want to first, as we come into the home stretch here, just say, Maddie, thank you for just being the wild card special guest. It makes this engagement for all of us so much more interesting. We've all learned. I take away things like the catch and throw strategy. Don't be surprised if I don't post about that on LinkedIn. I'll tag you. And I just think, Nate, you haven't had much interaction. And is there any final questions before we wrap up? Does anybody want to, one, have something new to say about what the biggest challenge is that we face? And then two, is there any last questions for Maddie before we wrap up this episode of the CXT?
Yeah, I'll jump in on that question for Maddie. I've been really philosophical with this lately. I'm kind of in a strange place here, so I'm just trying to figure out where can I invest time and energy that's going to make the right type of difference. And I've just kind of been, I don't know, almost a little skeptical of media at scale as I become more and more convicted about intimate campfire community. And the fact that I really want to foster meaningful connections and meaningful relationships with a smaller group of people. And it's like, where do there's absolutely a place for the amplification, the wonderful nature of the platforms that we've been talking about. But how much energy goes there versus how much energy goes to true relationship cultivation? That's where I've been thinking more and more, and just really struggling on where to put my time and energy.
I'll answer this pretty in one of my favorite ways. Produce what you want to produce. Put in as much time as you're wanting to put in time. Maybe growing on social media isn't one of your goals, right? Like maybe you're like, I don't really need social media, but I want to be present. I want to have, if people look at my name, I want to be there. Put in the simple terms, put in what you want to. In more elaborate terms, Instagram especially has this new feature called close friends. So, say it is a post you want everyone to know about. You can post it to everyone. It can be, if you have a public profile, you can post it to every single person in the whole wide Instagram world. If you're like, hey, this is more sentimental, I'm not ready to share it just yet, or not yet at all, there's a button called close friends, and you can pick who is on your close friends list. So I know people recently use this for their kids, right? Because people have a love-hate relationship and go back and forth of, do I want my kids on social media? Do I want their faces? Do I want people to know their names, know what they look like, know what city they live in? It's scary in the world that we live in. Even at my age, it's scary to put myself out there and be like, yeah, I go to UNLV. Yeah, I'm this old. This many, like, yeah, I'm this age. Yeah, I'm studying this. Like, if you really wanted to, you could find me, right?
Yeah.
And it's scary to think that. So some people, especially parents, will be like, okay, if I'm gonna post about my friend, or I'm gonna post about my family, it's gonna be close friends. It's the only people I immediately know. It's gonna be the grandparents. It's gonna be the aunts. It's gonna be the uncles. It's gonna be the cousins. It's gonna be my best friend, her best friend, whoever's best friend. And you keep it in your small circle when you're posting about certain things like that.
Yeah.
That is totally okay. At the end of the day, it's your platform, and it's your platform is going to be completely different than my platform in many ways.
Yeah.
It could be that you're just a smaller poster. You might only post every month. You
Yeah.
might only post every 2 months. That's okay. It comes down to how do you already see growth in your business. Social media can either be a harmful tool or it can be the best tool in your business, right? Like, it depends how you use it. Me personally, I don't it's funny because my whole job is social media. I'm on my phone 24/7. I'm always on a camera. I'm always doing something. I limit my social media use though. I'm only when I look for trending audios, I go on my reels. First 3 videos, I'm like, okay, these are the trending ones. One of these audios will work for me. And I close out. I do not like to scroll. I don't like to look at too much content. Sometimes I catch myself doing it, but I limit myself because I know the negativity of, oh, well, her body's better than mine.
So
Oh,
to quote the famous poet Easy E, to be a dope man, boy, you must qualify. Don't get high off your own supply. I love that's what you said. Okay, I love this conversation. It's time to wrap up the CXT show this week. Maddie, thank you so much for being our special guest. As always, CXers, it's fun to be in this group. And with that, we're going to call it a wrap.